Not too long ago, we made a video about some of the craziest and somehow most believable Bill Cipher theories out there. One of these theories involved Bill's eventual return to reality and that he had possibly reincarnated into the form of Stanley Pines. Well, wouldn't you know it, the big man himself decided to give us a couple answers as to what actually happened to him after he got erased with Grunkle Stan's memories. The book, in fact, gives us everything we could ever want to know about Bill, including his powers. The book is the absolute dream of every Gravity Falls fan alive, and even after 8 years continues to show us why Gravity Falls is still relevant, and why Disney XD should bring back the marathons that help me laugh myself to sleep. If you're into lore and you're into Gravity Falls, this book is something you're gonna wanna pick up. Just whatever you do, don't sign your name at the start of the book. You know, for collector's purposes, and definitely not because every time I go to sleep now I wake up in strange locations dressed in a chicken outfit. But anyway, let's take a deeper look-see at the many interesting facts that exist within this book. This book is pretty straightforward contents-wise for someone like Bill, but it really starts off with an about me, then moves into the deeper content such as Bill's Guide to Everything, where he does exactly that and explains everything. This ranges from how the universe works to the dreams of various characters within the series. It's hard to do it much justice just talking about it, and I don't want to go into too many details. After all, I think you're gonna want to buy this book yourself and open your brainwaves to the possibilities of Bill. And also, this is not Bill talking right now. Bill is dead. Anyway. The book moves on and goes over Bill's story. According to Bill, he was born in the second dimension, which actually reminds me of the Flatland theory, in which Bill was born in the dimension called Flatland. He says he was born with a rare mutation that allowed him to see the third dimension. This is kinda congruent with the theory of him being the triangle from Flatland's sequel, Sphereland, in which a triangle learned about non-Euclidean geometry that helped it prove that there was a third dimension, as the shape it took having more degrees than it ought to have was proof that the third dimension existed. Anyway, according to Bill, his attempts to show his universe the third dimension resulted in its destruction, with the deaths of everyone there, in which Bill moved on and took over another universe. This universe was one of never-ending good times, not too unlike what Bill planned to do to Gravity Falls after defeating the stupid Pines twins. After a deal with Time Baby falls apart, Bill searches through Earth to find someone to open a portal for him. He starts with a shaman in Gravity Falls before moving on to the ancient Egyptians and the Aztecs. He tries wizards in the Dark Ages and even witches and the fledgling US government after its founding in the 1700s. None of this seems to work, however, and it results in the creation of a secret society dedicated to defeating Bill Cipher called the Anti-Cipher Society, headed by one Thurbert M. Wagstaff III. They attempt to build an anti-Bill dome around the United States, but couldn't secure funding. Bill continued from that point on to try reaching multiple humans at a time instead of just one like he'd been doing in the past. This caused him to do a little experimentation with animation, music, and even computer technology. None of it worked until Stanley Pines accidentally undid the seal the shaman had placed on him years before. After this, we're shown the missing journal 3 pages. Bill apparently hung on to them after Stanford attempted to rip them out of his journal. These pages seem to tell of their secret history together, such as the early days of their developing relationship. This includes Bill telling Ford he needs to forget the past when he sees a television ad for a scam by Stan. Bill tells him about his own home dimension and its destruction, to which Ford vows to help Bill get revenge. Bill laughs and says that the monster that destroyed it would eat Ford alive. After this, we see that Bill was the one who taught Ford to trust no one during Christmas time when Ford and McGucket had to fight off Krampus. One night, however, Ford has a dream, and in it he sees the phrase "I grow maddened," which he deduces is an anagram that spells Weirdmageddon. After realizing that Bill is attempting to activate the portal, Ford attempts to stop him. This leads to Bill utilizing some zombies to attack Ford. Ford eventually wakes up on the roof of the Mystery Shack with a videotape Bill left him showing all the things he had previously done to him. Bill tells Ford if he doesn't activate the portal in the next 72 hours, he's going to take his eyes. Ford eventually calls for his brother, Stanley, to help him, which leads to Ford being thrown into the multiverse, where Bill loses him and proceeds to get drunk and beg for his mommy. The story moves on to the events of Gravity Falls and Weirdmageddon, but I guess you already know that story. And if you don't, please go go stream it or something. Don't deprive yourself of another moment of this awesome show. Moving on from this, Bill begins to explain his plans to the reader and tells them what he wants them to do. He tells them that he wants them to go to Gravity Falls, Oregon, to the statue, you know, the one that may or may not exist in real life. He tells them to shake its hand and they'll get their body back. Bill will then inhabit their body, open up one of the portals that remains around Gravity Falls, reassemble himself, and let the reader go. Also, I just said that to lull you into a false sense of security. I never planned to let you go. But can someone edit that out of the video, please? Anyway, Bill would then begin Weirdmageddon 2.0 and find the Pines twins and stab them with pointy objects. Then, finally, throw the coolest fiesta the universe has ever seen. As Bill continues to attempt to convince the reader to do his bidding, Ford, who had previously found this book in his knapsack, goes about writing his own messages, along with the rest of the Pine family, attempting to convince the reader to ignore Bill. The book then proceeds to move on to explain Bill's fate, and that he met with the axolotl that told him that he could reincarnate into various forms if he passed its test. Bill was confident in his own abilities though, and after feigning remorse to get to this point, accepts the test. He's astounded to discover that the test is, in actuality, therapy. During this, he manages to make the book as an arts and crafts project and proceeds to use it to contact the reader. However, the Theraprism discovers that he's broken the rule against contacting outsiders and plans to confiscate the book after 5 minutes, giving Bill enough time to finish his story. Bill says that this was a failure, the same as everything else. He does say, however, that despite the fact that he failed with us, he's not gonna stop trying. After all, a sucker's born every day. And even if he fails with us, he can always try again later. The book then shows the Bill statue in the woods of Gravity Falls, its eye giving off a soft glow. That's all wonderful, isn't it? Getting to know some wonderful Gravity Falls lore and history. Sadly, it kinda shoots down the Bill is Stan theory. Or does it? Well, we know Bill is still going to be reincarnated if he manages to pass therapy. He says that he'll never give in and that he will escape one day, but we can't actually prove that. For all we know, this book is his last possible attempt to get back into reality and he'll just end up reincarnating, maybe into Stan, but sadly not. We were in fact given some of his options, and these options are a newt, a shrimp, and a cloud of fungal spore, all of which actually kind of remind me of another Disney IP where he's been seen in the background, Amphibia. Maybe he reincarnated there. Maybe he held on. You see, there's something else we haven't talked about yet. Something very important. This is not a website.com.com. It's a website that's printed on the back of the book that, if visited, prompts you to enter a password. Now, just to let you know, the Book of Bill continually makes references to the book The Great Gatsby. The code you're looking for is to Jekyllberg. Putting that in takes you to a screen with a negative counting counter and Seuss claiming he'll fix it soon. If you click Seuss, he'll give different text, including a link to listen to a lo-fi version of the Gravity Falls opening. Besides that, if you're looking to do something interesting while waiting for whatever is going to happen, the site also provides a PDF hosted on the site to read The Great Gatsby, so I guess if you're up for 193 pages of classics. There's been a rumor that I found in a video by @TyRecordsLol where a claim was made that someone dug into the code of the website and discovered that there was a reference to a 3rd season, whose episode was supposedly titled Some Sunny Day. I can't substantiate the rumor and couldn't seem to find it anywhere on Google. Some people question whether the site will reveal any information at all or if it's just some sort of joke. I personally can't without doubt say that anything will show up on this page that would be worthwhile. My reasoning for this is that when I actually load the page, the tab has an eye on it with the caption, "Time is dead and meaning has no meaning." The phrase is a website to something Bill said during the opening scenes of Weirdmageddon. The time is dead part is funny because the counter is apparently broken due to Seuss there stating that it's under construction. But what also has me worried about the idea of if anything will ever come from it is the second part of that phrase, meaning has no meaning. If this website is attempting to embody that phrase, then that would mean that the website's meaning is that there is no meaning at all, and it's just a website to bait fans with. Not that this is exactly a bad thing. Coming from the line of kids who believed Luigi was secretly in Super Mario 64, sometimes a puzzle doesn't need to have a meaning to be exciting. Sometimes the journey is the destination, or perhaps that's just something I'm saying to hide that I would be super butthurt about it being fake. That being said, it's just me casting doubt on it based on a whim. I hope I'm wrong. I just like to keep my expectations low so I can't get disappointed. But rest assured, my computer will likely sleep on that new website until something inevitably happens. During that time, I'll be listening to lo-fi and reading The Great Gatsby. So in conclusion, while we didn't get much of a confirmation on the Stan Pines reincarnation theory, in fact it sort of shoots it down, we did get a bit of a hint that maybe our Flatland Bill theory was correct. But besides that, I'm just glad to know that Bill's still out there. He's one of the most enigmatic characters ever designed, and it's cool that he was even retroactively added to the $1 bill back when that was created. Did you never realize that he was there on the back of your dollar bill? Anyway, what do you think? Have you picked up the Book of Bill yet? You should. You definitely should. And don't forget to sign your copy. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you thought about the video and what you think about thisisnotawebsite.com. Be sure to remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Also, be sure not to forget that reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram, and to buy gold. Channel Bill loves you.